Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome to Legacy of the Void. Wait, what? Well, this is not actually Legacy of the Void, guys. This is a fan-made alpha, which is a custom game or a custom mod that you can play right now yourself as well. On the arcade in StarCraft 2, you can actually play this game right here, called Legacy of the Void. This includes all the changes that Blizzard has announced to the upcoming expansion for StarCraft 2, without the actual expansion being an alpha or beta or whatever yet. And today I wanted to go over one of the new Zerg units that has been added that I am personally very excited for, and it's going to be the Ravager. I'm gonna talk about the Ravager, and I'm gonna talk about all the changes and the strengths and the weaknesses, and my thoughts so far on the units. Now, I'm playing versus an AI. I'm playing versus an easy AI, so it's nothing too spectacular right here. But I wanted to just show you this new unit and just show you that this alpha is live right now. Or well, it's not really an alpha. I guess it's a fan-made pre-alpha sort of situation that we got going on right here. Anyways, Ravager, a new unit that morphs off of the Roach, which is kind of interesting because it morphs just like Banelings do off of Zerglings, and it does cost some extra minerals and some extra gas as well. We also have the economy changes here, by the way, that I'm not gonna go into in this video, but just so you know that the other changes are also live, my opponent will also be able to make his units. He can also go to like for a triple gate proxy, whatever it goes for, but anyways, we're gonna talk about the Ravager today. I'm very excited right here, so my thoughts are all over the place, but anyway, first thing first, he morphs off of a Roach. Now, Roaches are obviously very good at early game defense, but Ravagers are even more amazing at early game defense, okay? They're pretty expensive though. If you would morph a Roach into a Ravager, the total cost of the Ravager, after also creating the Roach, is about 100 minerals. It's not about, it's 100 minerals and about 100 gas. So that means that they aren't cheap units, okay? They're the same cost as the Mutalisk, which I find kind of hilarious. I don't know what build I'm doing, by the way, here, but hey, whatever. They're the same cost as a Mutalisk, but they're like a lot more early on into the game. You only need a Roach Warren to make him. You don't need like a separate builder or anything like that. Could actually throw down my Roach Warren right here. Make a couple more workers. Now, Ravagers are basically the same as Roaches, except they are a lot stronger. They have higher range, they have higher HP, they got higher attack speed. They're just practically, I've been calling them on livestream, I've been calling them Roaches on crack. Pretty much, because they are just the superior version of the Roach, and the ability that the Ravagers have actually kills force fields. And that is one of the main uses of this unit, besides it just being really strong and really good all around, just like the Roaches, really. It is breaking force fields, which is the main strength of the unit. They have the same armor. They have also actually the same base damage, but it attacks a whole bunch faster. It attacks at 1.3 instead of 2 of a Roach, which is nice. Now, as you can see right here in the Roach Warren, you don't actually have any upgrades in here, which means that we don't need to worry about anything. We can just make a bunch of Roaches. Now, I just made a couple Overlords right there, and I'm gonna pop a couple of Roaches as soon as I can. Don't think my opponent is really gonna do very much. I mean, he's an easy AI, so we don't really need to worry about that, but hey. The one thing to note though is that instead of he's actually gonna kill it. Instead of 2 Overlord or 2 supply, Ravagers cost 3 supply. Now that becomes apparent right when you morph them. So it's the same as like Brute Lords after Corruptors. You know, they just cost a bunch more supply, which is important to note. They cannot burrow move. So what Roaches can do is obviously burrow underground and regenerate health and like move underground if you get the upgrade and whatnot. Ravagers cannot do this. And another thing is that you can, you don't require a specific building. I already pointed it out, but you do not require a specific building. Now, if you take a look right here at my Roaches, I got this sexy new button right here in the corner of the screen that says Morph to a Ravager. Ravager is a heavy assault unit. It can launch a corrosive bile to damage air and ground units in a small area, okay? So I'm gonna just morph all of these guys. I don't really care for this game anymore. I'm just gonna talk or go with these 9 guys right here. I'm gonna morph all of them. Now, please note, the morph is actually pretty freaking fast. I was surprised by that. This is an 11-second morph in total. You actually got a morph as well. Come on. Come on, you slowpoke. And there we go. We have a beautiful new unit called Ravager. Look how fast they are, guys. They're really freaking fast. And look at the shots they do. Look at the attacks they have. Can you actually catch up to them? I don't think we can. I don't think we can. Can we? Maybe you can. But basically what they do is they shoot fireballs sort of things, which is pretty cool. Yeah, we are slightly faster than probes, so we can kill probes and whatnot. Whereas a Roach can't do that off creep, which is pretty cool. But they basically shoot these fireballs sort of things. Now let me try and find some Protoss units right here. Don't watch my macro, by the way, I'm not looking at that. But let me find some Protoss units here and see the damage that they do, okay? The base damage that they do. See how much damage that is? Now the nice thing is, we can also do this other thing called corrosive bile. Look what it does. Look what it does, guys. It just blows freaking stuff up. It does splash damage. And it's a relatively short cooldown, doesn't cost any mana or anything like that. The one thing though to note, that I noticed while playing this myself, is that, let me show you, it does friendly damage. It does do friendly fire, and that is quite important, because let me actually get a bunch of Zerglings over here. I'm actually gonna go back home. It does splash damage, and it does friendly damage. So if you're gonna be attacking with Ravagers and Zerglings at the same time in Legacy of the Void, you gotta be very careful, because the Ravagers can literally just kill him in just a couple of seconds if you aren't careful. And obviously you need to watch out as well for the fact that, you know, Zerglings tend to be very close to your enemy. So here we go. Let me show you. Here we go. This is one of these abilities, guys. Just one of them. Look how many Zerglings died right there. Let's say I spam him a little bit and my Zergling opponent is like, oh my god, everything just sort of dies, right? Now this is obviously going to be great for Zerg versus Zerg, but it does mean that Roach Zergling into Ravager Zergling is a bit of a risky strategy to play, because, well, simply put, you will likely kill your own units. Now this ability does 20 damage plus 20, I believe it's 20 plus 20, let me double check. Is it 16? No, what, the ability. Deals 6, oh wait, did they change this? Huh, I thought it was 20 plus 20. Maybe I got confused right there, but it does a lot of damage. A lot more than the Zergling's life does. Now let me actually test it on a Roach, I've not done that before. Let me test the ability on a Roach to see how many I need to kill a Roach. Yeah, you would actually need 3 shots apparently to kill a Roach, I think. Yep, there we go. So that's also pretty important to note. Now other than that, they're literally, like I said, Roaches on crack. They're literally just better versions of Roaches. What they allow you to do is just push a lot harder with a very, very focused army like this. And you can actually get out of trouble much easier as well, because the movement speed is a lot faster. Let me show you compared to Roaches. Alright, we're gonna have a little bit of a race right here. We're gonna race right here towards my 4th, or, you know, to be 4th base. Here we go. Boom. Right here. Boom. Go. You can see the speed right here, and this may not seem very significant, but obviously this does mean that in the early part of the game, you can do some ridiculous harassment right here, because you're gonna be able to basically outrun most of the units that are in the game. And, you know, you can outrun workers as well, apparently, which is pretty cool. Alright, now let me just, hopefully my opponent will actually cast some force fields, which I wanted to show you guys, because you can indeed break the force field with the corrosive bile ability. But if he doesn't, I'm just gonna go and kill him. But so far, I gotta be honest, I think this unit is going to be one of the most staple units that we will see in Legacy of the Void. This unit is just very, very strong. Oh, and one more thing that I didn't already point out, is that corrosive bile actually hits air as well. So let's say my opponent is going for like a bunch of Void Rays. I can just sort of spam it right here. And, you know, they will have a pretty hard time guessing where it's gonna land. And the nice thing is that the cooldown, once again, on this thing is only a couple of seconds. How much is it? Let me actually see. It's a 10-second cooldown in total, and that's 10 seconds blizzard time. So it's really, like, the cooldown is pretty short. And another thing that I'm gonna also show you right here is, let's say I'm moving into my opponent. Oh, there's a force field right there. Let me try and break it. Boom! Force field gone. Another thing you can do, though, is just sort of put down all these abilities and just run. Just run. Just don't even engage. Just run. And literally, my opponent is still dying, even though I wasn't even engaging him, right? Now, it looks like we can't actually catch up to Stalkers. Stalkers are a bunch faster than pretty much all the Zerg units, really. But you can see the idea right here. It's pretty good. So let's say we want to do like a run-by. I can sort of just imagine where his army is gonna go and run. And everything will almost die. So I'm gonna have to work on my aiming skills right here. But hey, everything considered, pretty cool. It's almost like a Kamehameha from like Dragon Ball Z. As you might have noticed, I'm pretty excited. I think this is going to be one of the most stable units that you will see in StarCraft 2. It's gonna be extremely strong if it stays like this. And I wouldn't be surprised if it does stay like this. Blizzard has the tendency to make things a little bit stronger at the beginning and then slowly nerf them down if it turns out to be necessary. Now, I wouldn't say they're like too strong, but let's see how they do against Immortals. Alright. Now, another thing you can do with this unit that I've actually done in a custom game versus someone as well, which is pretty cool, is just... I don't know what my opponent is doing, by the way, with... Oh, he has another base here. Alright. So one thing you can do, for example, is run by here, sort of like spam your ability and just continue on walking. Or you can just very quickly nuke it down. And as you can see, even though this is a pretty early game unit, keep in mind you can get this guy out at like the 2-minute mark with the new economy changes. It's just extremely strong, fast, more HP than a roach, and all in all, it's just very good. Let me actually try and nuke down a mineral line right there. Boom. Everything just sort of dies. It's pretty insane. It is pretty insane. You can actually one-shot a worker as well. Let me show you right there. There you go. Worker gone down pretty much instantly. That the splash damage is not that big, but hey, you can still kill him. So let's say you would come by right here. My opponent has a full mineral line of units. I can just sort of like spam him like crazy right here. And everything would just sort of be dead right now. Well, I'm actually taking out a hatchery here, or a nexus here. Well, what do we have here? Immortals? You're supposed to be the hard counter to my units, man. Hold on, let me get some more of you guys. So we can rub the salt in the wounds. I'm actually gonna need more overlords. Now that's one thing to keep in mind. I think this is going to be pretty weird for new Zerg players or for Zerg players that haven't played in a while. We are so used to, you know, roaches being a pretty high supply and a demand of overlords already. But obviously these guys, you know, they are 3 supply for a 100-100 cost in total. And that's pretty insane, to be honest. Like, normally most of these units will be 2 supply for 100-100. So, you know, they're gonna be very supply hungry, so you need to make a ton of overlords with these guys as well. But hey, once you have a full army like this, we can just nuke everything down without even shooting. It's insane. It's gonna be really fun to mess around with this unit. One thing though is that they're really big. Like, they're really fat. Kind of like Ultralisk almost, where they're just very fat and clumsy. You can't really, you know, walk them around as easily. And the ability does do splash damage. Like right here, I can basically accidentally kill myself if I'm not careful, which is, will require a little bit of skill. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this very first, you know, unit spotlight, I guess you could say, of Legacy of the Void. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see me spotlight the other units as well, make sure you let me know right below with a comment, and as well with it hitting that like button right there, because, you know, I will be able to note that you actually enjoy these kind of videos, so we'll be able to make more in the very near future. I want to thank you guys all for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, and I'll see you in the next one.